This is The Blockchain Show. The Blockchain Show is a podcast that demystifies cryptocurrencies and distributed ledger technology.
Welcome to The Blockchain Show. We've got another fantastic show lined up for you out there, people in the interweb world, and we've got Axel here. So Axel, do you want to do your introduction and tell us who you are?
Yes, I can do that. So I'm Axel, and I'm a doctor, so Doctor Who. So I'm Dr. Axel Schumacher. I'm the CEO of Shivom, and I'm a geneticist. I worked for a long time in the academic environment, so I had my own research group working on what we call complex diseases, like Alzheimer's disease or schizophrenia and cancer, something like that. And a few years ago, so I moved into the business world and to apply my expertise, my science expertise in business environment. I started another precision medicine company, and I worked in different positions. And one was with a company in Switzerland. And what we were doing, we were building so-called genomics and precision medicine platforms for the pharmaceutical industry, so for the top 25 pharma companies. And at that time, those companies, they had problems, and that was getting good access on patient data and genomic data from patients. And that was the time I got interested in blockchain technology. So I started to study that and to see if this can help. And what more is there to say? So I the last 2-3 years, I was a lot involved in really studying what is possible and how to combine blockchain technology with everything in the healthcare field, how to revolutionize healthcare with blockchain technology, and bringing together technologies like artificial intelligence, genomics, all that stuff to build something new. And that's why what I and my co-founders then finally did. So last year we founded Shivom, a global healthcare ecosystem using blockchain technology. And now I'm here, interviewed on this fantastic show.
So Shivom, to me, that sounds vaguely kind of Sanskrit, Indian in background. It sort of evokes chants for Hindu, I guess, ceremonies and stuff. Tell us your version of how the name came about.
You are absolutely right there. There are two reasons for that. One is that my co-founder, Goresh, he is Indian. And we have actually a large project going on in India. We teamed up with the government of the Indian state of Andhra Pradesh. And so they choose us as a partner to start sequencing their population. So this is a massive project. And if we can manage to pull this off, this will be potentially the largest genomics project on the planet. But we are at the very first, at the start, and we were just, after the token sale, we will start our pilot project there. And as you mentioned, yes, Shivom is then obviously has some Indian roots from Shiva and Om. So it's about destruction and building something new. Similar what you guys probably know from the phoenix, that the bird. We can know it from Harry Potter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So from the ashes will rise something greater.
Yes, something new, and this is what we are building, something completely new. And for that, sometimes you have to disrupt old systems and build something completely different.
Well, massively so. And I think that the biggest problem with medical systems these days is that you've got to make sure that patients are actually unique. And how do you tie up all that information? I think that's the biggest struggle which is facing every single country around the world. What sort of challenges have you faced around that sort of area?
Well, the biggest challenge I faced and also my team members, and I think the whole community of people that want to really do something about changing healthcare for the better. And these problems are not so much technical. It's more here in the head of the people, right? Unfortunately, a lot of stakeholders in the medical industry and in the healthcare ecosystem, they're thinking very traditional ways. So like, hey, we did this like hundreds of years like this, so why should we change? But it's time really to change something. But these are our biggest roadblocks, to explain to people that it's time and it's necessary to do things completely different. And for us, that means putting really the patient and also healthy individuals really at the center of attention. Yeah, it's not about making this billion-dollar big profit, as like pharma companies like to do. No one can blame them probably for that, but it's not what we are really aiming at. We want to really revolutionize healthcare, putting the patient first, empower people to manage their health, and we're starting by building a genomic platform where people can either upload their genome, if they have it already, their genome sequence or their DNA sequence, or they can get sequenced with us. And this genomic information is basically the base a lot of the other services on our platform will center around. So we use this information to make people healthier or to stay healthy in the first place, what we call preventive medicine. And this is where we really want to go. Keep people healthy as long as possible, prevent diseases by using modern technologies, genetics, running deep learning algorithms, so artificial intelligence on this data, make it actionable for people. And we are building a huge ecosystem around it so that other companies can come, add their services to our platform. This can be any service from the healthcare ecosystem. This could be something like pharmacogenomics. This means that you would get a report that says, look, you can use this drug and this drug, but you should really avoid drug B, C, and D because they may kill you. And this is especially important nowadays. I just mentioned our pilot project in India. Most drugs on the planet, they are made for just for everyone, really. But we are all different. Our genomes determine that we are very, very different. We react different to lifestyle, to drugs, to diet, to a lot of different things. And we need tailored therapies if we get sick. Mm-hmm. And this is called precision medicine. And for this precision medicine, we need also the genome information. And we put this all together in our Shivom platform.
So you talked a little, Axel, earlier about the gathering of that data and the inputting of data. So if I happen to have my own genome information, I guess that's from maybe registering or signing up with something like 23andMe or Ancestry DNA or something like that I've collected that. I've sent my little sample in a bottle somewhere for somebody to analyze and send back to me. So it's okay for me to take that source of genome information from that organization and feed it into your platform. You're not kind of...
That's right. You can do that.
You're not being prescriptive about how that genome information comes to you, as long as it, I guess, comes in the right quality and the right format, possibly. How do you see that working as more people collect their own DNA insight?
Yeah, this is actually a very good point. We want to get everyone who has already their genome sequenced onto our platform. And for us, it doesn't matter if you got it sequenced with 23andMe or Ancestry.com, or there are 20 other companies doing this by now. For us, it's important that as many people as possible come to our Shivom platform and build a huge community with a common interest. And this is staying healthy, get healthy, helping each other out, for example, by data sharing. This is one thing you can do on our platform. The key difference to other companies is that on our platform, you decide what happens with your data. So we would never, ever share your data without your consent. And if, for example, pharmaceutical companies would gain access or analytical access to your genome sequence, as an example, they should pay for it. And this money should not go to one large corporation. It should go to the data owner. It should go to you, at least the majority of it, right? Because this is just fair. And this is what we want to make on the platform. So you can come there, you can decide, look, I want to share my data with my physician so that I can get the right treatment at the right time. I may want to share it with my family to find ways to keep my family healthy. But I don't want to share it with my health insurance because they may find out that I'm predisposed to diabetes and they may raise the premiums, right? You don't want to do this. And we can put this all into smart contracts and in a very fine-grained manner that you can say, look, I may change my opinion, so I want this also time restricted, right? And I don't want that a pharma company can download my data. They may have access in analyzing it with some algorithms, but they're not allowed to download it. And if they have it, like in a text form, of course, they could copy it and pass it on to someone else. So these things, they should not be possible. And this is what we do in our ecosystem. It's all about data ownership, empowering of the user, and data privacy and security. So we use obviously blockchain technology to store it in a decentralized ways, data, to make it difficult for hackers, so cyber criminals, to gain access to this very valuable data. And in addition, what Goose and no other company is doing currently is we have what we call a privacy layer that sits on top of the blockchain. And all the data that goes into our system is basically anonymized. That means if your genome data or your other healthcare information or other what we call omics data is stored on the platform, it can never be traced back to you if you don't want to. Right?
Really quite interesting. So with that, I go back to your point that we're now talking about getting to a point where medicine can be also customized for yourself based on your genetic information. So for me, I've got Apple Health tracking everything I do, whether I know about it or not. Apple Health knows how many steps I've taken and how many stairs I've struggled up and what my breathing rate's doing. If we combine that with this data, we can actually almost get to the point of knowing exactly what I should be prescribed at any one point, which takes me back to an article I read a while ago called Google Island, about a man turning up at this mystical island, and as soon as he touched something, it knew exactly what he needed to make himself in the perfect balance of chemicals, etc. Is that where we're heading?
Oh, yes. This is actually where we want to go in long term. Of course, always keeping in mind that it's up to the user to decide what they want to know and what they don't want to know, right? Because there's a lot of information you probably don't want to know. Like if you are predisposed to a deadly disease, you may decide, don't tell me, please, right? But you're right. We want to make data in the long term really actionable, and this almost in real time. So we are thinking, we are already trying different technologies, like new AI methods and new streaming methods, using different kinds of new blockchains, where you could potentially stream live data, like from your wearable, from your watch, or if you have an implant, like to the platform, where then in real time algorithms can really crunch this data and give you feedback. Like if you have, what's easy to understand is, like, for example, a person that is pre-diabetic or has a diabetes, where we can monitor in real time, like the glucose level in the body. But of course, there are thousands of other molecules we can potentially measure in real time, and that are really giving you valuable information about your health, or that something is missing, or that you have to take a drug to intervene, or some other preventive measures. In the moment, we are still at the very early stages, but we are partnering with several other companies in that space. And long term, we really want to make this dream possible. And I think it's absolutely possible. It's only a matter of some time until we reach that point.
In terms of the technology that you've been building and exploring so far, have you taken it to kind of proof of concept stage? Have you got something that looks as though it works, albeit that it needs more pieces adding to it to fulfill its potential? And I guess that brings me on to, what's the next stage in Shivom's evolution? We touched earlier when we introduced ourselves that today is your ICO pre-sales day, and we kind of went live just before we started talking, which is great and very exciting. What's the next steps for your organisation through that ICO event and beyond?
Well, obviously, we have the token sale so that we can now scale. It means we will heavily invest in building the platform, finishing it up so that we can put it live, hopefully before the end of the year. And we will in parallel start our pilot project in India. This little bit, it serves also as a kind of proof of concept, because we can gather data already at a large scale, what we call as big data. And if this all works well, we can really roll it out to the whole planet. And this is then again, it's a massive scaling operation. We have to invest a lot in marketing and community building, because we really want to build a massive global marketplace and community with potentially millions and millions of users. This is first of course, we have the logistics we have to think about. We are also building our own laboratories around the world. We want to have at least one lab on each continent. We will build a genetic counselor network to make sense of all of the data, right? Because for most people, even if they get their genome sequenced, most people and even doctors, they don't know really what to do with the data because it's complicated. So we want to build this network of counselors that can explain people really what it means. Later in a few years, we may be able to do this also with AI, some avatars that can tell you the same stuff. But this is still the future. But you see already where we are going. So we will add in incremental steps new services to our platform, new technologies. That also means that at the moment, although we have a relatively still primitive proof of concept, we are, for example, blockchain agnostic. So our technology is not set in stone. We grow with, and our technological abilities grow with science, with progress in the field. So if something new comes up, we incorporate it in our ecosystem and in our platform. Obviously, we cannot do this all on our own. We have already very strong and sophisticated, clever partners on board. From the AI space, from the blockchain space, from the genomic space. And overall, our platform is heavily driven by partners as well. So all the companies that have something to add to it, in AI components and genetic precision medicine services, they can very easily partner with us, become part of this ecosystem, offer their services, and build something really new and revolutionary.
So we talked again a little earlier around you have your kind of co-founder out in India, and you've got a large project over in India. Yourself, I detect a Germanic accent there, so I'm guessing you're in Central Europe somewhere.
Yeah.
What about Munich? Okay. What about the rest of your organisation? How are you? How have you come together? Are you operating in more locations than that, and how do you make that work?
Yes, in the moment we behave like a large blockchain. So we are decentralized with the headquarters here in Munich. And so the one team is in India, where we have a lot of the marketing and developers sitting. And obviously we will, since we interact there also with the government, we will open more offices over there. We are also in where you, Mark, are sitting. We have several people in London, UK. So we have their strong presence. We are, of course, in the US, in the moment in San Francisco, but we are looking also at the East Coast. So I'm also part of Don Tapscott's Blockchain Research Institute. I'm a faculty member there. So I'm from time to time, I'm in Toronto. Okay. And we have also some staff in Toronto. So this is also a fantastic place to be. And maybe a long-term place where Shivom wants to be. Okay. We are strong in the Middle East. We are in talks with guys all over in the Middle East. There's a lot of interest in getting us there. And we have already a couple of people also there in Dubai. And basically really all around the planet. We have fantastic feedback from Asia. So from Japan, Korea. We have interactions with other companies. So we definitely have presence in Australia as well, probably in Melbourne, since we already partnered with GTG Labs from Melbourne.
It's a proper global business already. You know?
Yes, it is. And it's fascinating. So we really, and in addition to this, so please, you should check out our website and look at our, what we call the Innovation Council. So we also gathered advisors, but they're a little bit more than just advisors. So there's a really world-class experts in the field of not only blockchain or AI, also of cybersecurity, from genomics, business, venture capital, really absolutely top experts in their field. We have even former prime minister from Estonia on our Innovation Council. And just to give you a small impression what we are really building here. This is something really large, something smart, something that we are building really on an innovative platform, on innovative ideas for the future. And we want to be everywhere. We want to be a really global enterprise, a huge community. To do this, what we're also doing, we are building the Shivom Foundation. This foundation makes sure that the whole community, the whole platform steers into the right development in an ethically proper way, that it's not abused, that it's safe, that the data is safe for the people. And this should be in a non-profit, handled in a non-profit way. That's the reason we're building this non-profit foundation on top of it.
So we can trust you with our data. You're global. You've got a lot of very influential people involved in the platform. It all sounds like, as we'd expect, you're going to be oversubscribed during this initial coin offering. How do our listeners get involved then? Tell us the good news.
Everyone can still can participate in our project. So today, our pre-sale started, and you mentioned it already. The feedback, the interest is massive. So our server crashed today because it could not really keep up with all the people coming to our site. But we have fixed that by now, and everyone can still participate. And this is not only in buying our tokens. Of course, we would love to have everyone on board to just check out our services that we are planning to do, get your genome sequenced. We are also open for collaborations and participations of people that are just interested in the science, right? So if let's say you're a scientist or a student somewhere on the planet and you are interested in the project, come to us, approach us, be part of the project. So there's certainly a lot still where we can grow together and build really a huge global precision medicine, genomics, and healthcare ecosystem.
That's fabulous, Axel. Thank you ever so much for that. Very, very interesting stuff. One thing I do have to ask you, you're a doctor and you're based in Munich. What is your favorite hangover cure?
Oh, I mean, if you live long enough here, you don't have hangovers. You just get used to it.
That's great answer. Great answer.
Have another drink, I think.
No, this is actually quite interesting, because when I lived for some time in Toronto, and I grew up in Cologne, and there we have a tradition. It's called the Frühschoppen. That means you have a beer for breakfast, and people in Canada, they were really not used to this. So I don't know.
That's the best breakfast ever.
You get used to it.
Yeah, breakfast the champion. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that. We will put the links to Shivom.io. You can find out more information on our website and our podcast links. I've been reading with interest myself, and yet you've got a very impressive set of partners and the Innovation Council as well. You mentioned Tavi on that, who's one of the players in blockchain. I've seen a few presentations with him myself. And others. You have an impressive set of founders and partners and helpers, I guess. So thank you very much, Axel, for joining us today. It was really great to hear, and really watch with interest, and urge our listeners to get involved.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show, and thanks. It was great talking to you guys, and to everyone, please look at our website, shivom.io. I'm sure you will find it interesting.
Great stuff. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And thank you, everybody, for listening, downloading the podcast, and getting this far as well. If you have got this far and you've got any comments, questions, or anything you want to send in, please do. We've got the Facebook page and we've got the website. So please be interactive. Let us know what you like, what we could be doing better in your eyes, and we'll see what we can do in the future.
Great stuff.
From me,
goodbye.
And from me, goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Dankeschön.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Axel.
Are you looking for an easy way to buy Bitcoin or Ether on a safe, secure platform? Coinbase is the easiest place to buy and sell digital currencies. Sign up today as a friend of the Blockchain Show, and if you buy or sell $100 of Bitcoin or more, you'll earn $10 of free Bitcoin for yourself and $10 of Bitcoin to support this show. Join now using the link in this episode's show notes at theblockchainshow.com. To learn more, visit theblockchainshow.com.